This is a demonstration for the SNES Mini SD storage expansion for the NES and SNES Minis. It is a internal storage mod PCB for both NES and SNES Mini consoles if they have a FTM-SHVC mainboard. Again, I want to make it clear that this is not just for SNES Minis shipped with SHVC boards, but also for later production NES Minis, so please check ahead of time before ordering. If you do not have an FTM SHVC board, you will most likely have an FTM NES board instead. Please check my other listing for the FTM NES storage mod board. First, a quick overview. Over time, I've gotten some grievances and suggestions over the board's design. There were some worries asking about the coupling capacitor pads being empty, along with the other pads intended for a resistor and LED. The second major complaint was that the flimsy hinge slot that could bend to the point where it no longer closed properly. Then the third complaint was that the board sometimes fit so snug that it prevented the board to fit correctly back into the shell if it was soldered too low. So then came the first redesign. This was mainly to address the snug fit that some mentioned and had to reheat their boards to install correctly and fit. It fit NES Minis just fine, but the SNES Mini shell had to be trimmed on the inside in order for it to fit. Not to mention that the LED was probably the most useless part of the board. You never saw it, it was on the underside of the console and did nothing. So it got scrapped altogether along with the required resistor. Removing those components allowed me to trim the board further to its new design. You'll notice that the coupling capacitor is in place and gets rid of the hinge slot for a spring-loaded one. The capacitor, from what I've seen, isn't something that is required at all, but is there to give certain people peace of mind that there is a just-in-case precaution in place. For anyone who's bought a previous design, do not worry, the board still functions the same, does the same thing, nothing has changed or improved with the exception of the placement. As for how it works, to install the board, it's fairly simple even if you don't have a lot of soldering experience. You'll line the board's holes to the round points on the bottom side of the Mini's motherboard. You tape it down, apply some solder to each point. The important part here is that you apply enough heat to each point to allow the solder to bond. You will get errors on Hakchi with either syncing games or formatting your card if you do not apply enough heat. I recommend you go over each point a second time and let the iron sit for a bit to let the solder bond. For those looking into the FTM NES board, note that the points on the console are on the top side and not the bottom, but works the same way by aligning the points and soldering. Lastly, once everything is installed and you have an SD card in the slot, you plug your Mini to your PC and run Hakchi. Go to the tools, then format your SD card, and then you follow the on-screen instructions from there. Once again, if you do not apply enough heat to your points, you will get various errors. You'll know you have everything correct once your card formats successfully. The larger the card, the longer it takes to format. A 1 TB card took me about 40 minutes or so to finish. Once formatted, it's as simple as syncing new games as normal. You will notice that the total storage is available at the bottom of Hakchi. You can organize the games however you want, add what you want, install what you want. Hope you guys enjoy.